who is a singer, and her husband, I believe his name is Orlando Bloom, bought the Bragg's Apple Cider Vinegar Company, and they have teamed up with Bill Gates and now are using his Apeel apples. Let me sort of educate the audience a little bit about what Apeel is, A-P-E-E-L. It uses monosaccharides and disaccharides, which are byproducts of all oil processing.
Hey fam, welcome back to another video, welcome back to another reaction. This is Segovia coming to you live from the man cave. We made it, y'all. Happy Friday. I'm not gonna hold you guys up too long because I know it's Friday. I know my people, my cave fam, they're going out, going to have dinner, gonna go have some drinks. But before you do it, let's enjoy the reaction together. Have a safe night. Sit back and enjoy the reaction.
Tartaria mud flood theory is a controversial hypothesis that suggests a catastrophic event took place in the 18th or 19th century, resulting in a massive flood of mud that covered entire cities and wiped out entire civilizations. According to this theory, the civilization of Tartary, which was once a powerful empire that covered a large part of the Eurasian continent, was destroyed by this event, and its existence was deliberately erased from history by the ruling elite. One of the main pieces of evidence cited by proponents of the Tartaria mud flood theory is the presence of mysterious buildings and structures in various parts of the world that seem to be older than the officially recognized timeline of human history. These structures, known as megaliths, are often made of large stone blocks that would have been impossible to move and erect using the technology available at the time they were supposedly built. Another piece of evidence cited by proponents of the Tartaria mud flood theory is the strange architectural features found in many old buildings in Europe and elsewhere. These features, such as strange windows and doorways, seem to have no practical purpose and are unlike anything found in modern architecture. Proponents of the theory argue that these features are remnants of an older civilization that was destroyed by the mud flood. There are also claims that the Tartaria mud flood theory is supported by geological evidence. Some researchers have pointed to the presence of sedimentary layers in certain regions of the world that seem to indicate a massive flood event took place at some point in the past. Other researchers have claimed that the soil samples from various parts of the world contain high levels of unusual substances, such as iridium, that are typically associated with meteor impacts or other catastrophic events. Proponents of the Tartaria mud flood
have begun to reveal an assortment of items as well. For starters, known islands are popping back up, such as the case with Tower Rock, which is an island in Missouri. While it wasn't totally hidden previously, it is now accessible by foot for the first time in a century. People are finding household items like keys, fans, and phones. They're also discovering sunglasses and larger items like barbecue grills. Recently, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, a 19th century trading boat was unearthed. It had been sitting just under the surface until the drought. The historical relics are among the interesting finds that locals have been dredging up. One man from Memphis discovered not only a belt buckle that dated back to the Civil War era, but also bullets from the war.
A lot of our history, like I always say, when it's time for the world to get reset, I believe land becomes water. Water becomes land, and it's just a constant cycle, and a little bit of that water starts going down towards the end, and we start seeing, oh, there was life before, like old artifacts, and that's what I think, y'all.
What do you know about it?
Big shark.
Prehistoric. 1970s, NASA started a underwater research and testing site off the coast of Maryland called Zone F.
Ooh.
And it was to study the existence of rare animals. This guy named George Meyer was a biologist, marine biologist out of Texas. He went to Maryland to do some studying and stuff. He was out fishing in a storm came, and it lasted for 2 hours, and he got blown like pretty far out. When the storm passed, and he looked off the boat, and there's a giant cage underneath him. Being a marine biologist, he brought his scuba stuff with him. Put it on, went underwater, and he looked at this cage, and from what he saw, it went a mile this way and a mile that way. And it went so far down to where he couldn't see the bottom. And on the cage, it said, Zone F property of NASA, stay out. He saw that, and he said, oh, I don't want to mess with this.
Yeah.
Started swimming up, and he heard loud metal banging. He was up, he looked back down, and what he saw, he said, was a shark 60 to 70 feet in length.
Whoa.
It freaked him out so much, he swam back to the boat, took off.
As a normal person would.
He came back 2 weeks later, and the cage was gone.
Ven, pulgas. Ten. Eso.
That guy just makes videos feeding coyotes from hand. At the border, bored as hell. He's got a taco. He's like, let me give this coyote my last bite of this taco, dog. That's kind of funny.
Morning, this family's garden gnomes moved by themselves, and they had no idea why until they set up cameras to find out. The gnomes would start in the garden, then make their way down to the curb. One of the neighbors must be playing a prank on us, the husband said. I just think they're haunted, the wife puzzled. No matter what the case, they were about to find out exactly who or what was moving the gnomes. So with the cameras in place, they waited. But why they hadn't thought of using hidden cameras years earlier, they had no idea. Instead, they would return the gnomes from the curb back to the garden each morning. And since they only put the gnomes out in autumn, it was always a rather chilly morning ritual. Finally, when they reviewed the first night's camera footage, they were shocked. There wasn't an animal or person in sight. Rather, the gnomes seemed to just move themselves. They watched the same phenomenon happen night after night until the husband had had enough. So one evening, he camped out beside the gnomes. That's when he learned the truth. All this time, the nightly frost had been giving the gnomes just enough lift off the ground to slide down the grassy slope to the curb. No tricks, no haunting, just nature, and a valuable lesson that sometimes things aren't always what they seem.
Now, a little story about gnomes, right? I was talking to a female, right? And she was very into fairies, one of those card readers, fairy gnomes. And she told me when she was at my place, it was too much for me. I couldn't deal with it. You know what I mean? But she told me a story about a gnome that disappeared from her backyard. Me being a skeptic, I was like, well, maybe your parents walked by and broke it. They didn't want to tell you, so they threw it away. Or, maybe someone stole it, right? She was convinced that these gnomes, they come to life. And the reason I'm telling you this, I put a gnome in my front yard and like a frog with a mushroom, right? Just for some decorations in my front yard, right? One day, I was out cleaning my yard, pulling some weeds, and I looked at the gnome and it was turned around facing my house. First thought that went to my head was that girl, right? Now, and then I started thinking maybe it's windy. It's windy out in this city, always windy. I know I didn't put it backwards because, I know what I do with my yard. But then I was thinking if it was windy, it would have blew over. It wouldn't do a complete 180-degree turn perfectly. So I don't know. I keep an eye on that gnome though. Every time I go outside, I look at it, make sure it's facing the right way. I don't know.
Let me tell you how sick this guy is. When he came out with this song, Old Town Road, who was the main audience that was singing that song? Children all over the world are singing to the Old Town Road. After he builds up this massive audience of kids, what's his next move? He comes out with this music video where he slides down a stripper pole and he gives Satan a lap dance. Who's the main audience for that song? It's kids. He came out with a shoe after that called Satan's Shoe. Who's gonna buy that shoe? It's kids.
NASA's universe shows a 1,000-mile long alien mothership from Jupiter. They can't explain, and a lot of observers are saying 1,000-mile long spaceship. And some people are saying either we don't know what it is, and some people are saying it might be an alien mothership.
1,000-mile long?
1,000-mile long alien mothership. That's near crazy. Jupiter. Look at that thing. Imagine a 1 mile times 1,000. That's a big ship. That's a huge alien mothership that's happening. Hey, the aliens probably have hoverboards, I imagine, just going from side to side. Why did they put the food court on the other end? Why would they not put it in the middle?
They got the bird scooter.
Imagine aliens have the same annoying problems that we have. How annoying would that be? They have all this
Scooter, stop working.
They have how all of our technology is nowhere near theirs, right?
Yeah.
What if their minimal technology is like they can't reach our toilet paper technology?
Dude, I think they don't know how to make fire.
That would be
That's
hilarious.
what we got on them.
So they're observing us dude, how
we can shoot lasers and hover. It's we have fire.
The aliens are
what is that?
Day before 9/11, the day before the attacks, Rumsfeld gave a press conference where he talked about trillions of dollars missing. The day. Then a plane slams into the very part of the building where they were doing the accounting, blows up, half the fucking building in the Pentagon, blows up a wall.
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
Now, again, somebody told you that literally, like right before 9/11 happened, they said they couldn't track $2.3 trillion. That did not happen, but it did happen. Yeah, so think about what Kennedy said. Think about what you saw when you saw that Vice movie, where Dick Cheney, who was the CEO of Halliburton, becomes a vice president and gets billions of dollars in no-bid contracts.
Now, I think 50 years from now, they're going to come out. I think they're going to come out and say 9/11 was an inside job. I really do. There's too much things that happen, coincidences, but it's not going to be for another 50 years when I'm long gone or I'm, 80, 90 years old, right? But my 5-year-old niece is going to be 55 years old. She's not going to care that 9/11 was an inside job. Do I care that JFK was killed by the CIA? I mean, I'm not losing sleep over it. I'm not thinking about it. I might have read it on a newspaper article and on to the next one. That's what they're going to do with 9/11, I think, y'all. It's going to come out, but we're going to be long gone. People that were young, that were never born at that time, they're not going to care. Just like we don't care about JFK being killed by the CIA. We don't care. We're not doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Hiding the Tartaria mud flood from us to cover up the fact that they intentionally erased them from history. The mud flood theory is a controversial hypothesis that claims that in the 18th or 19th century, a catastrophic event took place where a massive flood of mud covered entire cities and wiped out entire civilizations. The Tartarians were subject to this disaster and were wiped out completely. Now, the more sinister side to this story is that their entire existence was erased from history after this tragic event by the ruling elite. But why would they do that? Well, it is said that the Tartarians were known for their ability to create free energy from the atmosphere using their architecture. The ruling elite were not happy about this, as they had invested a lot of money into making energy into a business, and if everyone could access it for free, then they would be at a major loss. The main pieces of evidence we have to support this theory are the buildings that we have in various parts of the world that seem to be older than the officially recognized timeline of human history, not to mention the strange windows and doorways that seem to have no practical purpose found on many of the suspected buildings.
AI will increasingly replace repetitive jobs, not just for blue-collar work, but a lot of white-collar work.
What sort of jobs would be lost to AI?
Basically chauffeurs, truck drivers, anyone who does driving for a living, their jobs will be disrupted more in the 15 to 20 year time frame. And many jobs that seem a little bit complex, chef, waiter, a lot of things will become automated. We'll have automated stores, automated restaurants, and altogether in 15 years, that's going to displace about 40% of jobs in the world.
40% of jobs in the world will be displaced by technology?
I would say displaceable.
Oh yeah, they're going to be displaced. That's a lot. He didn't say the country, he said the world. So damn near half of all the jobs out there are going to be gone. So y'all better prepare. Y'all 15 years. We're still 45 working, right? Might one day just come down and say, hey, AI took your job. Look at Chick-fil-A in Wednesday's video. Look at Walmart. They're starting to do things slowly but surely, starting to make the moves towards it. You got to see it. If you look, it's there. Y'all better get that camera in front of you and a microphone. You never know what can happen. Something can bloom from that.
If you know, you know. Time to expose another pizza file, if you know what I'm saying. Seth Green.
Pizza.
Seth turned to me and opened up this secret bookshelf, and he's like, "This is where we keep the children." And I was like, I tried to just put it out of my mind, but then about a month later, Seth, Claire, and I were having a dinner at their house, and Seth said, we now need to have a talk about chicken. And I was like, oh God. And then he basically admitted that he's a pedophile.
Now I want you to take note on how he said they need to have a talk about chicken when you watch this next video.
Happy to have you here. I don't think we've met before. I was trying to figure that too because I've been such a fan of yours for
So let me just say, he's been a big fan of his, but he doesn't know if they met before. And now watch how they talk about chicken and robot chicken. Watch this shit.
I'm trying to figure that too because I've been such a fan of yours for so long.
And
but
vice versa, I'm a big Robot Chicken fan.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, I've never gotten to do this show, and I just didn't think we'd actually met.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
We might have matched on some dating app at some point, but I think I just kept swiping.
Could be. Could be. I'm always open. Now, people know you from a lot of things. Austin Powers, Buffy, Entourage. But of course, I was saying, I know you from Robot Chicken.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
You see how they're making a joke out of it? Throwing it right in our faces. He knows him from Robot Chicken, and that's so fun. Obviously, he's like the producer of Robot Chicken, but those who can see what's going on, you know what's going on here.
Strangers give me their kids all the time. We've talked about this before, but it's still current. Whenever I meet people, they'll be like, oh, take a picture with my baby, hold my baby. Here, get close to my baby.
I get that too. They
Take a
hold you,
picture with my
they
baby.
hand you their baby. They don't know who we are as real people.
Don't worry, guys. We know who you really are. Alright, I got one last clip, and then I'm probably going to make a part 2, because there's more on this subject.
This crazy thing going on in Hollywood right now, where the LAPD
Of course,
Threat Management
TMZ.
Department is involved in a case with Paris Jackson, Seth Green, and Seth's wife, because a guy, this actor whose name is Isaac Cappy, he has been going after them.
This whole video is pretty much about them discrediting Isaac Cappy. And for those of you who don't know, Isaac Cappy is actually dead now, and he apparently committed suicide, but I have plenty of videos showing that he's not suicidal. Stay tuned.
Have you got a voice in your head?
Actually dead now, and he apparently committed suicide, but I have plenty of videos showing that he's not suicidal. Stay tuned.
Now, I never heard of this Isaac Cappy, so before I did this video, I Googled, Isaac Cappy. Sure enough, he actually in my hometown, Arizona, in Phoenix, he jumped off a freeway bridge onto oncoming traffic in Arizona, killed himself. Right. So, okay, we have to edit that. Okay, so before I put this video in here, I did some research. I never heard of Isaac Cappy, right? I Googled it. I Googled him, and sure enough, he jumped off. How do I put this without he projected himself off a bridge on the freeway. That's all I'm going to say, because I've said things close to this and they cut my video out. So I'm going to just leave it like that. Go do your research on him. He's got a lot of clips. I'm probably going to get into him a little bit more. Touchy subject on YouTube. So yeah, on to the next clip.
Have you got a voice in your head?
Yeah, everyone has a voice.
No, they don't.
Really?
No. I can't get my fucking head around it.
I can't.
So my brother-in-law,
yeah,
like I say to him, the voice in your head, and he's like, no, what are you talking about? And I was like, do you not, like, I was like, when you think of something, like there's a voice in your head talking, right? And he's like, no. And I'm like, what?
I can't understand that.
I can't comprehend
it. Yeah.
I got about 8 voices.
The thing
in
is,
my
though,
head.
I think when
eight
you say a
voices in my
voice,
head.
right? Try and verbalize what a voice might
when you're
sound.
talking now,
Yeah.
there's something in my head going, oh,
Try
he's
it.
going to fucking ask me to try and like vocalize what I mean when I say a voice in my head.
Yeah, I have a voice.
In this video, she explains the truth about being in the present moment. Make sure you watch until the end and let me know what you think in the comments below.
I want to change your life in like 5 seconds, if you'll let me. You know when you play games and you move your little guy along like Candyland, you go along the track and you have to roll the dice and then you have to walk forward and you have to take the next steps, especially like the game of life. You have to keep moving forward. That's not the way life really works. This is how life works. You stand still. The best thing you can do is be in the present moment. Be happy, be present, be fully with me here, fully watching this video with me, not thinking about what's coming later, fully in your workday, not thinking about what you're having for lunch, not thinking about anything in the past or the future, being present here. And whatever you desire, think of it like a little pin on your future that naturally is coming towards you. Time moves through you. You don't chase time. You don't chase anything. You stand still, and the better you get at staying present, the faster that pin comes into you. Time comes through you. You do not chase time, you attract. That's where that affirmation comes from. I don't chase, I attract. Time moves through you. You don't chase time. Stay present. Things happen faster.
I like that. You know, when she was talking about don't think about this, don't think about that, that's what I was thinking about. I'm doing a 36-hour fast, so I was thinking about food. I was thinking about, messing up on eating, like screw this fast. I was thinking about all that. I was trying. You don't realize how much you don't live in the present, right? Constantly. And that's where pure happiness is at, is living in the present, right? Living in the future is anxiety. Living in the past is depression. You're only at peace when you're living in the present. And very hard to do, because that whole time she was talking, I was realizing, like, damn, I'm thinking about food. I'm thinking about going for a walk. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do for the rest of my day. Like, it's very hard. It's got to be a hell of a skill, to live in the present. Something we can work on as a cave family together, living in that present.
So scary. Oop. Why is it so scary to go over there? It smells terrible.
I'm down there like a
Seems like a dead
statue.
animal or something.
And as I begin to see this thing, I hear like this alarm go off.
Man, where am I? Hear that? Hear like a beep.
In my mind, I'm thinking, did I trigger an alarm or something like that? Is somebody backing up like a dump truck and they're gonna dump a ton of dirt on me? I just don't know what's going on. And that really freaked me out. Like, is there cameras, looking at me, and some surveillance system going off? I don't know. I have all these things going through my head, and I'm freaking out. Plus, I'm like down in this pit, and so I'm like, I'm getting out of here to figure out what is that beep, because when I pulled up, nobody was there.
Oh my gosh. So the beeping noise was my drone controller. I left it on up here. I was thinking there's like some alarm going off. I mean, obviously when I'm thinking rational, nothing's going on really. But just hearing an alarm when you're down there next to that dude, it's kind of freaky. So, oh my gosh, that was just so random, huh? This is a freaky event.
See, he felt something. They must be doing something down there, attracting some bad energy, because he said, why am I so scared of this? So there's some bad energy at that little spot he was at.
Who is a singer, and her husband, I believe his name is Orlando Bloom, bought the Bragg's Apple Cider Vinegar Company, and they have teamed up with Bill Gates and now are using his A-Pill apples. Let me sort of educate the audience a little bit about what A-Pill is, A-P-E-E-L. It uses monosaccharides and disaccharides, which are byproducts of all oil processing. Okay, so the byproducts of things like soybean oil, canola oil, which are very harmful to the body, and these byproducts are trans fats. This is really important. They're trans fats. Trans fats in most countries, all of Europe, are banned. And the reason why they're banned is because they cause coronary heart disease. What's your position as somebody who understands the land, respects the land, who's growing, showing people how to grow? What's your position on watching somebody buy this amount of land with that type of intention behind it?
See, and what is a big side effect to apple cider vinegar? good for your heart, right? Now, I drink not often. I try to drink, a tablespoon and a half of vinegar in a glass of water, right? Because there's a lot of health benefits to it. And a lot of people, when I started doing this, were drinking that organic, 100% organic. Like if you go on YouTube and look up vinegar benefits, they're all going to recommend that exact vinegar. I had no idea Katy Perry bought it and they're doing all this stuff. So that's kind of crazy how it's connected to that. And everybody on YouTube is saying, get that. Like I used to get that exact vinegar. Now I just get the generic, because I'm balling on a budget, right? I get the generic vinegar, 100% apple cider vinegar. And that's what I mix with my water. But yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Another suspected spy balloon. Found off the coast of Alaska by fishermen. My home state. Have we been through this already? Bringing it in for investigation to the FBI.
Never ending.
The #1 item purchased with food stamps in America is addictive diabetes water.
What is this diabetes water that he's talking about? I bet you have a guess. And why are so many people consuming it? There is more to it than you think.
We're the only country in the world that allows that. So we have
to soda?
Goes to soda. So
So the U.S. government pays people to drink soda?
The U.S. government, direct from the federal treasury, more than $10 billion per year go from the federal treasury to soda companies through the food stamp program. The #1 item purchased with food stamps in America is addictive diabetes water.
If you're sitting there thinking, I don't drink regular soda, I only drink diet soda, you need to watch this.
100 normal individuals, 25 in 4 different groups. One group, 1 liter of sugared soda per day for 6 months.
1 liter, that's a lot of sugared soda.
Yeah. One group, 1 liter of diet soda per day for 6 months.
I probably did that in graduate school.
One group, 1 liter of milk per day for 6 months.
I probably did that when I was an infant.
And finally, one final group, 1 liter of water per day for 6 months.
I do that now. I do more than that, but yeah.
The 1 liter of soda per day in 6 months gained 10 kilos.
The sugary soda?
The sugary soda.
10 kilos. Okay.
10 kilos. No surprise. The 1 liter of water per day lost 2 kilos. Also no surprise. Those were the easy ones. Now let's do the ones in the middle. 1 liter of milk per day. No change.
Presumably that was full-fat milk. We're talking about Europe.
Full-fat milk.
Yeah, they like their full-fat milk.
No change. And finally, the key, the kicker to the whole thing, diet soda. The 1 liter of diet soda. What would you predict their weight would do?
More weight loss than in the water group based on my understanding of the literature.
They gained 2 kilos.
Wild. Because they ate more.
Well, you tell me. Why did they gain 2 kilos if they were consuming a liter of diet soda, which are 0 calories? The answer is because they still generated an insulin response.
And that insulin response generated more hunger?
More weight and more hunger. Exactly. And that's the key. So they didn't gain the 10 kilos, they gained 2 kilos. So it looks better compared to the sugared version, but it looks like, a problem compared to the water version or even the milk version.
Hopefully, we're all going to think twice before we consume the diabetes water.
See, when I quit drinking alcohol, I used to drink a lot of diet soda, right? And I'm not a soda drinker. I've never been a soda drinker. I've always been a water drinker my whole life. And we've always had Kool-Aid, tea, soda in the refrigerator growing up. I never drank it. I would drink it occasionally, right? Very rarely I would drink a soda. But when I quit drinking, it was something to, I would drink a Diet Dr. Pepper or something like that. But now I don't even really drink non-alcohol beers no more. Rarely, only time I'll drink a Diet Dr. Pepper or something like that is if I'm going on a long drive, to Arizona. I'll sip on a Diet Dr. Pepper. But now I just drink these bubblies, sparkling waters, LaCroix, anything like that. So hopefully they don't do a study on these one day because I'm screwed because I drink like 3 or 4 of these a day. So yeah, but yeah, don't drink your calories. One thing I can always tell people that are struggling with their weight that ask me, I just say, don't drink your calories. Don't go to Starbucks and get you a big old sugary drink. Just get you a little half and half in a black coffee with a little sugar-free creamer to add a little flavor, right? Just don't go crazy with it.
So you want to know why you shouldn't take out your wisdom teeth? Some might call me crazy for this, but listen carefully. When you look at the word wisdom, the end part of the word, the is a very important sound when it comes to meditating. And I'm sure many of you have heard it. You know when you go, Well, for those of you who do have their wisdom teeth, I want to challenge you. Put your tongue up to the roof of your mouth where your teeth and your gums connect like this. Make sure your entire mouth is closed. Now make the sound. For those of you who have your wisdom teeth, you will feel vibrating in the back. Now it's called wisdom for a reason. That sound actually opens up your crown chakra. This is what connects you with the universal consciousness. So yes, this is where you get lots of wisdom. So without the wisdom teeth, there is no vibration. So you put 2 and 2 together.
Well, there you have it, CaveFam. Hope you guys enjoyed the reaction. I put that there because does anybody have their wisdom teeth? Try it. Let me know down in the comments. I got my wisdom teeth pulled out before they were even giving me any problems. Dentist just said they're showing up on x-rays. I was young. Asked my mom, do you want us to take it out? Poor little Segovia didn't have no say in this. I was a little kid getting my gums cut up and mouth popped up when I was little, so I might not have ever had a problem with my wisdom teeth. Some people do go their whole life without having their wisdom teeth pulled out. If you're one of those, let me know down below. Do the challenge and let me know if it works. Some people I know, you guys have pain, got to get it taken out. Ain't no love lost over here. Do your thing, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, y'all, this is Segovia signing out of the Man Cave. Hope everyone has a good weekend. I'm gonna see you guys on Sunday. Be safe out there. Later.